Miller time with Big T. And Blake Miller, too. Blake, how's it going?
What's going on? It's going great.
You're at the country club, huh?
Mm-hmm.
How's your day going?
Oh, it's going all right.
Good. It's a beautiful day. It's windy.
That ain't too bad.
I took a ride down by the beach this morning, and it's blowing some gales down there.
I bet, right on the water.
Sand was blowing up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Pretty good storm we got coming in tonight. We'll see.
Yeah.
Whenever that's coming.
Hopefully maybe we can dodge it. So how was your week?
Been good.
Anything
good
special, Adam?
Not really.
I went down and spent a little time with our sponsor the other night, St. Patrick's Day.
Mm-hmm.
The Office Bar and Lounge.
Was it crowded in there or what?
It was crowded.
St. Patrick's Day?
It was actually on St. Patrick's Day. I didn't stay too late, but they had a pretty good crowd, and they were fun was had by all that was there.
All right.
They had some tricky costumes, and I didn't wear anything silly, but
shocker.
There was some silly stuff going on down there, that's for sure. But as always, it's a great place to congregate, meet up with people. Some of our regulars were in there, so that was good. It's a good place to meet, catch a game, just have a good time.
Sure, y'all
catch up with
March Madness, were you?
We had the basketball was on, yeah. We had that going on. So, that's a big deal going on right now. You watched any of it?
I watched a few, watched some games.
Man, we had some killer games, some big upsets.
As always, yep.
What one stands out for you?
I guess Kentucky going.
Yeah.
Yes.
St. Peter's won again too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unbelievable. They're on a roll.
Sweet.
I watched North Carolina yesterday. I guess it was yesterday. Yeah.
How was it? That was a big upset.
That was exhausting. That was an exhausting game.
Yeah.
Up 25, and then the kid gets thrown out who's on a roll. I mean, what do you think about that? I didn't really think that guy deserved to be thrown out of that game.
I don't know. I really didn't see that part of it.
Well, they were tangling for a rebound, and the white-headed kid from Baylor, he just looked like he was antagonizing everybody. And he kind of grabbed this guy, and they were fighting for a rebound, and he did kind of throw an elbow in there, but the other guy was pulling him down.
Yeah.
And they didn't do anything to him. And he was diving into people, and I don't know. That game turned on that call. And from that point on, Baylor, I guess it was just, they almost won,
It's overtime.
Yeah. That was the largest comeback in NCAA history, I think, or could have been. But, I'm kind of glad for Sophie that North Carolina won, I guess, Did you see the end of the TCU Arizona game last night? That was kind of, tricky too. They called a technical on the guy for hanging on the rim after a dunk, which it looked like he was trying to keep his balance. I think he was supposed to call a tech in that case. But I did notice that a lot of the refs were getting, a lot of bad press for some of their calls. I didn't see them all, but, that's what they were talking about. They had a A lot of upsets in the tournament. Who you like going forward?
Got no idea. It's a crapshoot.
I mean, Duke's still there. The SEC is not good.
They're gone.
Well, Arkansas is still alive. The Big Ten still has one team, and that's Michigan.
Yep.
They're playing good. Gonzaga still alive. I gotta think it's going to come down between Gonzaga and Duke, the Zags and Duke.
Could be.
I don't know if they can make it, that far, but I think the Zags are going to be there at the end. So, what about the NFL?
Free agency.
Big news, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Can you believe Deshaun Watson? I mean, why? Why would the Browns want him?
What's your problem?
I mean, is he not going to get suspended?
Well, all of his charges just miraculously poof are gone.
Yeah, but they got civil charges.
First off,
it's still,
we're not 100% sure that those were even legit.
Well,
you got to think about that too. Just there's
22 of them
that pop up out of nowhere.
There's 22 of them out there that's suing him.
Yeah.
I mean,
22.
You got to think he's going to get suspended. I mean, and I'm kind of glad the Saints didn't get him. I like the Saints if they re-sign Jameis Winston.
Which they did that today.
They did?
Yes. 2 years.
I did not know that.
2 year, 28 million, 21 million guaranteed.
Good. I like the Saints. Jameis was on a good path last year till he got hurt. I think he deserves a shot. I think he's going to get a better shot now that Sean Payton is not there and going to try to do that Taysom Hill project. I mean, that was just I disagree with that from the beginning. But
receivers in there, that's a big problem.
Yeah. Well, they're getting Michael Thomas back. Are they not?
Who knows?
Maybe he'll play.
I'm done with that guy.
Well, hopefully he's coming back and gonna play.
Prima donna.
Well, he is, but I think a lot of them are. We didn't talk about last.
Marcus Mariota.
Who did?
Falcons just signed Marcus Mariota.
So what's that mean about Matt Ryan?
Have you been living under a rock for the past today?
No, I hadn't heard about him.
He got traded to the Colts.
Okay, I missed all that. Wow, how did I miss that?
What have you been doing?
I've been working on the podcast.
That's big news. Yes.
I missed that.
Traded to the Colts.
Wow.
The Colts continue their veteran wash up organization they're running.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers.
And so Marcus Mariota is going to start for the Falcons?
Let's say, they could still draft somebody, but he's
their
guy for now.
Wow.
Interesting.
What else did I miss?
I don't know. Did you watch golf yesterday?
Oh, yeah, I watched golf. What about Davis Riley, man?
Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
He was close.
Oh, he had it.
What'd you think about him?
Look, the guy's won at every level he's been at. Junior golf, he was a stud. He went to Bama. He did good there. We turned pro, and right before his senior spring season, which is kind of crazy. Won on the Corn Ferry Tour, and then was a leading money winner there for a good while.
Is he the same age as you?
He's a year younger than me.
Younger, okay. Mm-hmm. Y'all didn't compete in any tournaments against each other, did you?
I'll let you figure that one out.
No, he was playing on the big tour.
He wasn't playing anything I was playing in.
Yeah. What the hell? Well, that's probably good. He probably kept you out of the winner's circle.
Yep.
Well, I was pulling for him. I was hoping he would win. You know, our neighbor across the street, Big Joey, came over and watched the playoff with me, and he was pulling for Burns because he's an LSU guy. You know,
that just ain't right.
So, yeah.
Sam Burns hit 3 times in a year.
Yeah.
He's top 10 in the world.
He's playing.
And I saw, so I got me a couple little wagers on some golf this year.
Oh yeah.
For the majors.
Oh yeah.
I saw a graphic yesterday.
You got Sam Burns?
Saw a graphic yesterday. It had 4 players on it. There's only 4 people who have won 3 times in the past year.
Yeah.
He's won 3 times. Cantley's won 3 times. Sam Burns has won 3 times, and Cam Smith has won 3 times.
Yeah.
I've got Sam Burns for a long shot to win the U.S. Open.
Okay. Where is the U.S. Open this year?
At the Country Club, Massachusetts.
In Brookline, Massachusetts.
Yep.
Okay. Well, maybe he'll pull it out.
Of those 4 players, I've got 2 of them to win.
Is there money involved?
I have a bet. Okay.
Okay. Who's the bet with?
It's with the Golden Nugget Casino.
Oh, okay. So you went to the sports book.
Hell yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, good deal. Well, good. What about baseball? They're coming back?
MLB?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yeah. I know, but they're fixing to start. And, you know, did you follow college this week too?
Ole Miss still the #1 team after taking the series, lost 1 game.
Yeah, 2 out of 3. State, man, did you see what they did yesterday? They beat Georgia 20-3.
20-3, yeah. And Georgia was
Of course, they got pounded the first 2 games of the series. They lost the first 2, State did.
Yeah, right there.
What about Southern Miss?
They won the series. I can't remember what they did. They lost.
I know they won with a walk-off one night. Walk-off bomb. They lost yesterday?
Yeah. Let me see.
I think they won 2 out of 3, though.
Can't remember if they won Saturday or not.
Yeah. Well, did you follow that the college golf team had the bad wreck? Man, that was a tragedy, was it not? You know, I thought about you and
I don't know.
all your teams going back and forth.
What's that?
I thought about you and all your teams going back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, we drove all the time. College golf programs can't really afford to fly unless you're big time program.
Right.
So I mean, they're always driving. I mean, everybody's always taking advantage and stuff. You know, it's crazy that a 13-year-old was driving the other vehicle.
Man, can you believe that?
What's going on there? Like,
that's just not right, man. I tell you, I sent a $50 donation to that school. They had a GoFundMe account. I just felt like I ought to. But anyway, that was terrible. Well, buddy, let's take a short break, and we'll come back with our guest today. And I'm excited about that. Commissioner Stephen Martin with Mississippi Association Community College is going to join us here in a few minutes, and I'm sure we can talk about all things JUCO sports. So we'll be right back with Commissioner Martin. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Military with Big T. We're back. We're pleased to have Commissioner Stephen Martin from the Mississippi Association Community College Conference with us this afternoon. Commissioner, how you doing?
I'm doing well. And hey, thanks for having me today.
Well, we certainly appreciate you taking a few minutes and joining us this afternoon. I know you've got a lot going on now with spring sports going on and all that, but let me take just a minute to start off by talking about your background. I know that you're from New Orleans. You are a legendary high school basketball player in New Orleans and went to Georgetown.
That is correct.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, let me tell you, I think you put the legendary in it, but I will accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am from New Orleans, and formerly I did play basketball, and was very fortunate to actually get a scholarship to Georgetown University and play for John Thompson, who, in my opinion, was one of the most incredible persons that I've ever met. And it was definitely an honor and a privilege to, to play for him. One thing that impressed me about John Thompson and what made me go to Georgetown was really his commitment to young people and his commitment to education. I took a lot of recruiting trips, and a lot of coaches would tell me, "Oh, you're gonna play, you're gonna be my star, etc." Well, on my recruiting trip to Georgetown, Coach Thompson told me that he couldn't promise me that I was going to play 1 minute for him. Okay.
Right.
What he said he could promise me, because if I did what I was supposed to do, that I would walk out with a degree from Georgetown University, and that's what really made me attracted to Georgetown and Coach Thompson.
Right.
So I did play at Georgetown for 4 years. Had a fairly decent career. I was the captain of the team in my senior year. Now, most people don't believe this, but I actually have a degree in accounting. So I actually worked a couple years with an accounting firm before I got redirected to sports.
Right.
And being a former athlete, obviously, you have an affection for sports. I never did want to coach, but I did say I wanted to be involved in athletics.
Sure.
Passion. So I got back involved in athletics when I moved to New Orleans, and I actually started a summer basketball league for the college players in New Orleans. So
right.
At that time, the student athletes, the young men, they didn't really have a place to play during the summertime. We had kids from Tulane, LSU, Xavier, Dillard, and they didn't have a place to play. So I decided that I was going to put together a summer league. Now, my background, obviously, when I lived in D.C., stayed there during the summers, we had a lot of summer activities, a lot of summer leagues that we can go and play in. But at that time, we didn't have that in New Orleans. So I took it upon myself to start a league for the college athletes. We really had a very good summer league, and it was so good that it attracted a man by the name of Cecil Watkins, who was the supervisor of officials for the NBA at the time. Cecil actually came to New Orleans to take a look at what we were doing with the summer league. Now, what Cecil did, he was the supervisor of officials for the NBA, but he used summer leagues and things like that as kind of a training ground for potential officials.
Right.
He came and saw our league. He liked what we were doing, and he eventually asked me if I wanted to move to New York and work for the NBA.
Right. I was going to tell you that I know you worked for the league for quite some time, did you not?
Yep, exactly. So I wound up accepting that position, working for the NBA in New York. I worked for the NBA for about 14 years, helped with some of the referee training, did a lot of community relations. And then in my last 3 or 4 years, did some international business development.
Sure.
The NBA at that time, they were looking to launch some business aspects around the world globally. And since we had some African-born players, and one in particular, Dikembe Mutombo, who's a Georgetown grad.
Right.
I got involved with our efforts, or the NBA's efforts, with developing basketball in Africa.
Right. Good. Well, Do you still follow NBA pretty close?
I got to tell you, not as close.
Right.
You know, and I also worked for the New Orleans Hornets when
right.
first moved to New Orleans. And what I would say when you work with a team, I went through a season when we only won 19 games, and trust me,
it's tough.
It makes it very tough. But I really don't stay in touch with the NBA game as much. I really look at a lot of college basketball. Obviously, I'm intrigued.
Right.
The NCAA tournament, and then obviously our conference. Really keeping an eye on what we're doing at our level for the most
right.
part.
Well, Blake and I were talking about the NCAA tournament earlier. Mm-hmm. Who do you like moving forward in that? You got a favorite?
Well, I don't necessarily have a favorite, but after watching Duke last night, I got to tell you, they looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's still a lot of good basketball left.
Right.
The tournament, but it's been exciting.
Right.
Gonzaga looked good. There'll be somebody to reckon with. So I got to tell you, when they do get to that Final Four, I really think it's going to be a really good Final Four.
Well, you should get tickets right there in New Orleans.
In New Orleans, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last time that I went to a Final Four was in New Orleans. And it was when Georgetown played Carolina, the Michael Jordan last shot.
Oh, wow. Really? Really?
That was my
wow.
Look, that was my last and only Final Four that I actually went to in person.
That was what, 1982?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah. Wow.
It was an incredible game.
Yeah.
Incredible final.
It turned out wrong for you, though, right?
Yeah. Well, Georgetown lost that one, but look, it happens. But when you lose to Michael Jordan and James Worthy, hey.
What can you say? Yeah. Well, good. Well, talk to us a little bit about MACCC. I know the spring sports are going on now. Anything standing out for you that you're spending your time with, or
Yeah, I tell you, there's a lot, and obviously you've mentioned the spring sports that are going on right now. We just finished basketball season a week or so ago. Now we still have baseball, softball, tennis, and golf. I got to tell you, with baseball and softball, with baseball, we have 6 teams that are ranked nationally in the NJCAA. And
wow.
With softball, we have 7 teams that are ranked nationally. So as you can see, we're extremely competitive. Now, what's been keeping me very busy with baseball and softball has been the weather. We have had weather challenges. We've had to reschedule games and make up games, etc. So that's been kind of interesting for the last couple of weeks. But also, kind of on the national level, so there's a couple of things that we're looking at, which we're working with the NJCAA on, which, if it works out for us, I think it's going to be very exciting for our conference. One thing that we're working on is the realignment of districts. Okay, so right now we're in district or region 23. And so in the region, it's Louisiana and Mississippi. Now, because that region has the Mississippi and Louisiana teams, sometimes that creates some challenges for both states. What we've been pushing the NJCAA on is for Mississippi to have its own region. And if that happens, then that would be very beneficial, especially for basketball, baseball, and softball. Okay, for our own region. So that'll work out pretty good. So we're working on that in conjunction with the NJCAA. The other thing that we're working on is we would like, if possible, to see the NJCAA increase the football regular season from 11 games to 12 games, okay? What that would do for us, because we have that odd number of teams in our conference, what that would do for us is help us to create somewhat of a more balanced schedule where all the schools would play 5 home games and 5 road games, okay? But kind of on a bigger, from a bigger picture, what we've noticed also is as you look at things that the NCAA is doing with the transfer portal and things like that, we just feel that it's very important to have that additional game because we want our athletes to be seen more. Now,
Right.
a lot of the schools are going to the transfer portal to get athletes and things of that nature. So we think that really takes away from our athletes. Okay.
Yeah, I think high school too. I think high school athletes and JUCO athletes are getting left behind.
Right, exactly.
Because these coaches are pulling in from other schools.
Right, exactly. So we just want to give our student athletes another opportunity to be seen. So that's another reason why we asked for that additional game. So actually next month, the NJCAA has this Board of Regents meetings, and actually still on the Board of Regents for the NJCAA. At those meetings, that's when those decisions will be made.
Right.
Alignment and the possible 12th regular season game.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of work, and there's work behind the scenes, and but we got to keep moving forward. And then, as you also know, we're working on our summer conference. Our summer conference is when we bring our coaches and athletic directors and trainers, bring everybody together. And that gives us an opportunity to do some professional development for all of our staff. So we will do breakout sessions as it relates to injuries, as it relates to some business, marketing, things of that nature.
Right.
We're looking at, areas like strength and conditioning, not just for football, but how you manage that for all sports, strength and conditioning for female athletes, strength and conditioning for male athletes. So we think we think we're going to have a really good, robust summer conference for the most part.
Is there any kind of media aspect to that as far as getting that covered and,
yes, absolutely. So part of the conference is we bring also in our sports information directors, and we give them an opportunity along with us to really put together some strategies on media coverage, because that's one area. Well, let me say this. I think our schools, they do a really good job with their websites, with social media, with live streaming their games. One area that we have not done a great job in is getting media coverage. Okay, so when I'm at home and I'm flipping through the channels, I see the high school championship on all the sports carriers, all the sports stations carry the high school playoffs, really, in all the sports. And so we have to get them on board with carrying and giving highlights on our scores. And then sometimes when you pick up the newspaper, you expect to see Mississippi State and all the big schools, but then you see the high schools.
Right.
There's still that gap of, okay, why are they not picking us up? So we're going to spend some time really coming up with some strategies and some ideas on how we as a conference should be connecting with those media outlets. So that's a huge part of it.
You mentioned that all the schools are doing a good job streaming. A lot of people doesn't know that these schools are streaming their not only football games. If I'm not mistaken, they're streaming just about everything, right?
Just about everything. We're streaming basketball, we're streaming baseball, softball, a lot. I always tell people outside of Mississippi that Mississippi Community College athletics, like the best kept secret. And, it's really our job to help to get more exposure.
Yeah.
The secret, so it really won't be a secret any longer. But we have some work. We absolutely have some work.
Well, along that lines, what is your vision? I know I've heard you talk about a vision that you have and, 5 years down the road. What are some of the things that you're working on to help move that along?
Right. So one of the pieces of the vision really has to do with exposure. How do we expand our exposure beyond, our cities, we have our community colleges, and how do we expand our exposure outside the state of Mississippi. So there's a couple of things, a couple of ways to attempt to do that. So one, we're having some conversations with ESPN, ESPN3, so with the possibility of carrying some either football and or basketball games on those networks. Now, that would be a huge leap.
Sure.
If we were to get that done. The other thing that we're working on from a local and from a regional standpoint is that we're having some conversations with Mississippi Public Broadcasting about the possibility of also airing some of our games on, over the air. It's great.
Sure.
It's great that we do a really good job on live streaming, but I know that everybody don't really like to go to their laptop or their computer to watch, sports. So if they can turn on their TV and it's on their TV, that's a whole different audience. So that's so those are two areas that we're really looking at. How do we get the national exposure, and how do we get more of that regional coverage?
Right.
So we're having really good conversations with those two. The other thing that we're looking at, Thomas, just from a vision standpoint, is how do we generate revenue for the conference? Okay, I think our conference, I think we have a great product across the board in all of our sports, but just like every business entity out there, every sports entity out there, we have to monetize that.
Sure.
So we're looking at developing some partnerships with some sports marketing firms who can go out and assist us to secure some sponsorships.
Right.
So we're very close on those. So when you look at kind of the landscape of everything that we're attempting to do, from the exposure standpoint, with with more television coverage to generating revenues, and then if we can get the changes with the NJCAA, the district realignments, along with the increase in the number of games for football, then if I can get all that done, Thomas, I may be able to take a vacation.
Well, you might be able to retire by then too. Yeah. But we don't wish that on you. Blake, is there anything that you want to touch about?
Yeah. So what year are you going on? Is this your fourth year, fifth year coming up?
This is my fourth year.
Okay. So when you were coming in, Last Chance U just was probably at its highest peak. Okay. Mm-hmm. And, from anybody that wasn't living, not from Mississippi, watching Last Chance U, not sure what kind of perception they got of the league, from that. But what would you tell them, or what would you want the perception of the JUCO League in Mississippi to be for somebody that lives in, Kansas or somewhere else in some other state?
Right. So first, let me say this. So Last Chance U, it did end before I came on board.
Right.
I did have a chance to go look at, some of the series for the most part. Now, depending on how you look at it, some people say it was negative, some people loved it, and it probably depends on your age, your perception of it. But bottom line, it created a whole lot of exposure for East Mississippi, good or bad. Okay, a lot of exposure, and East Mississippi still receives some residual exposure from Last Chance U. So now what we have to do as a conference, for those who saw it as being negative, we have to balance that now. We have to balance that with, I'm going to say, those really, really good stories about what our coaches are doing in the community, what our student athletes are doing. We have great institutions. We have a lot of good positive things that we can put out, which we should put out. And we're starting to do that. So as you know, we 2-3 years ago, we launched our own website. So we control all the content on our website. When I looked at the numbers from last year, we had over 1.2 million impressions on our website, which is very good for for a 1 year period. So we have to use all of our assets like that, from the conference standpoint and also the individual school standpoint, and we have to jointly create some messages. Now, as I mentioned at our summer conference, those are the types of things that we're going to be talking about, how we jointly use all of our assets to create those positive images and build our brand.
Along those lines, let everybody know what the website, how do you get to the website, Commissioner? And talk about the app too. You have a mobile app as well.
So you get to the website by going to MACCC Athletics, and that'll take you directly to our website. And you also, the way you go to our app, the way you get to our app is you have to go to the App Store in order to download the app. And the app, that's been a great tool for us also.
I use the app a lot, especially during football season.
Right. And I got to tell you, we're going to do some things to enhance what you see on the app. We're trying to work on how we get live stats on the app, things like that. So we really want to enhance that too also. Yeah. But it's how we really take all of these digital and, tools to reach more people and to put out a collective message.
Well, one other question I had about, I know in the last couple of years, some of the schools have added volleyball to the mix. Right. Do you foresee any other new sports down the road that people might be interested in?
I got to tell you, it's interesting because we've had some more schools add tennis and golf, okay, which is always interesting to me. So that's a good sign that that our presidents are looking to expand on their sports for the most part. Now, also when you look at what's going on nationally from the NJCA standpoint, they're really pushing women's flag football. Okay, that's another one that they're pushing is cheer and dance competition. Now, I'm working on a league-wide cheer and dance competition. The good thing about that is all of our schools already have cheer and dance, but they kind of like just, cheer at the basketball games or perform at football games, etc. We want to take that and formalize it and have first a statewide competition, and hopefully, we train our cheer and dance teams and get them ready for national competitions.
Right.
So those are the key areas. Now, as strange as it sounds, and I have to admit to you, I have never been to a rodeo, but we have schools that have rodeos.
Yeah, I saw where I think East Mississippi does that, doesn't it?
East Mississippi, Northwest. So we have a couple other schools that may be interested in expanding rodeo programs.
Right.
So right now, I think it's a good time for the conference in terms of expansion and really getting more student athletes into our schools and really preparing us to be competitive on a national standpoint, which we're doing a really good job already. That's the kind of direction of where athletics is going in the conference.
Well, how about hosting championships in all sports? Are we, in line to do that? Or is there any, problems with, Mississippi not being able to host championships? Or
no, the challenge with that is finding an entity within the state to, I'm going to say, co-host. So if the conference will host, then we'd either have to have one of our schools to co-host, or let's say it's basketball, or find another entity that would meet all the NJCA requirements to host. In for
we need somebody to put the money up.
Right. Now, one thing that I've heard is, should we bring back the Mississippi Bowl? Okay. Yeah. Which is kind of interesting, and we do want to take a look at that, especially if we can develop some, some marketing partners for the most part. So there's some thoughts and definitely some interest in it. As you know, in football, the NJCAA just expanded to the football playoffs.
Right.
But there still are some bowls out there. And I got to tell you, I would like to see us potentially in position to be able to host the football national championship because we got some pretty good facilities that we can host in.
I think we're just as good as Little Rock.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and I this past championship I attended the game in Little Rock, and not to pat ourselves on the back, but I'm pretty confident that we could do a much better job.
Yeah, well, good. Well, that's great. It's always good to to hear about the JUCO experience. I don't know if you know this or not, but they've been playing football, I think, in Mississippi since 1927.
Wow.
Pearl River was the first football champion, and I believe to this day still has the most championships.
I did not.
So yeah, so it has a long storied history in Mississippi, and I think that we're really at the very tip of the iceberg in people knowing the history and where we've come from and how competitive our league is now.
Yeah, and you make a very important point. That's a piece of information that I didn't know. But, we have to tell our stories more and more ourselves because we just can't rely on somebody else remembering this happened. I mean, we have to be front and center.
Right.
Our websites and everything else. Doing commercials, making commercials of the history and the background of the conference, because you're absolutely right. It has an incredible history really across all the sports. Matter of fact, next month, I will have the opportunity again to go to our Sports Hall of Fame. And every time I hear some of the athletes that have come through, not just football, guys who went on to play Major League Baseball, et cetera, it is an incredible history. But we have to do a better job of telling our history.
Right. That's true. I think we dropped the ball on that in a lot of cases. Well, one other thing, Commissioner, we'll let you go. How do you feel the schools are right now as far as facilities go with their sports? It seems to me over the last few years, there's been a big push in a lot of the schools and upgrades. How do you feel where we stand with that right now?
I have to tell you, across the board, we are probably better than any other community college conference with facilities. As a fact, I was visiting Gulf Coast a couple days ago. They're building a new gymnasium.
Yeah.
They're putting turf on their soccer fields. So when you look at some of the other facilities around the state, they're absolutely incredible. What I always tell people in Louisiana is that the community colleges in Mississippi, they're like small four-year colleges, dormitories, cafeterias, athletic facilities. I mean, we have really done a great job with supporting athletics in the state of Mississippi. Yeah. So I see a lot of really good, progress in terms of facilities. It's kind of interesting because, when you talk about Colin has their own golf course. I mean, how many four-year schools have their own golf course?
Right.
Same thing.
Hines in East Mississippi.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. East Mississippi. They have their own golf course. So look, I'm very happy with where we are with facilities, athletic facilities. Could we have a couple more that's better? Absolutely. But across the board, I think we're very strong.
Right. Well, good. Well, Blake, anything else with the commissioner from your end?
Can't think of any. Maybe when you were talking about the app and doing some things, is for the golf tournaments. Do we have live scoring on the app for those?
Well, we could have live scoring. So with the app, that requires some software on the other end, and those are the types of things that we're working on. Okay, so and you're probably a tech guy. So there's software with all the sports that if you have a statistician, at the event, that ties into the app, the website, etc. So those are the things that we're trying to develop, or really trying to get some cooperation across the board from all of our schools. I mean, just think of it. If we had live stats across all the sports, that would provide real-time information to anybody who wants to know what's going on in our conference. So definitely something that we're working on, Blake.
Blake, you want to get the commissioner to have the championship at your course?
Yeah, we need to have we need to work out the state championship at Hattiesburg Country Club one of these years.
Okay.
Blake's a golf pro there, and he'll get you to come down there and play.
Well, look, we definitely should talk about it, because one of the things that the golf coaches has talked about is really utilizing neutral sites for the golf championships.
There you go.
So we'd love to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, when I played, it was always a team hosting.
Right.
The home in golf, the home team. We were talking about this. Southern Miss practices here, and every tournament they go to, the home team is going to be favored. So I mean, they don't have many neutral site tournaments that they get to play in.
Right. Exactly.
That's tough.
You also bring up an important point across all the sport. So one thing that we have, I should say, another thing that we've been talking to our coaches about is the possibility of taking our conference championship tournaments to neutral sites, and taking them to neutral sites and trying to create some type of fan fest around those events. So, and that's just my training from my old days in professional sports, that, you create some activities for the fans who may not really be coming to watch the basketball game, but they may be coming because they have a cousin that plays and trying to support. But if you give them activities to participate in, then that kind of keeps their interest for the most part. So we could possibly do that with basketball, baseball, softball, sports.
What about football?
You do something with football.
Yeah,
have like a 2-game, first day, first Thursday or Saturday, two the big games.
Right. So y'all are stealing all my ideas.
Okay, no. Well, Commissioner, we appreciate you jumping on with us today, and thank you for all you do. And I want to publicly say, ever since you've been on board, you've been very supportive of our officiating program, and that means a lot to us, and some things, wouldn't be as smooth if we didn't have that support from you and the rest of the staff that you have working with you. So we appreciate that.
Well, we definitely appreciate that. And look, when we have people, be it officials or whomever, that's dedicated, to our league, that makes it easy to support them. And I find it incredible that we have the number of officials that are so dedicated and commitment to us. So we appreciate that. We do.
Well, thanks a lot, and we'll catch up with you soon, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Okay, call me anytime. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Commissioner.
Okay, bye-bye.
Have a good one. Welcome back to Miller Time with Big T and Blake. Well, Blake, that went pretty well.
I think so.
A lot of good ideas there.
He's dealt with some interesting. He's had a cool timeline.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. Just think about playing basketball at Georgetown for the legendary John Thompson.
Did he? We should have asked him. Did he play with Patrick Ewing?
No, he was before that.
Okay.
See, his timeline, he played in the late 70s. And what makes it even more is he was really before Georgetown got, hip in the 80s.
Yeah.
He played in the 70s. So he missed that heyday, but still, playing for Coach Thompson, he was a legend.
Mm-hmm.
So that was great. So what else you got on tap?
Well, we've talked about all the big sports. It's been a big week for free agency football last week and March Madness and all that. But one sport that doesn't get talked about that's being talked about is women's college swimming.
Okay. We're going to talk about the tranny.
I mean, there ain't nothing to say. There's not much to say. What are we doing?
Well, look.
What are we doing?
I think the world is crazy that we're letting that person, participate in women's swimming. Now look, here's my thing. If they want to participate, have a transvestite league and they can compete in that league against themselves. But don't go, ruin some other girls, chance at stardom. It's just not right. And I'll stand by it. People are going to call me out, whatever. It's not right. It is not right. Move on.
I don't think, everything I've seen on social media has been like, how is this even happening?
Yeah.
So, I don't think you're not going to have too many people that are going to say, yep, they should be competing against girls.
Like I said, if they want to compete against each other and let them have their own league, but don't do it, just because,
Anyways, we're not going to get too caught up on that.
Yeah, it just burns my bubble.
There's a State fired their basketball coach. Surprisingly, Ole Miss didn't.
Yeah, well, they already hired a new one.
Yeah.
From New Mexico. New Mexico State.
Somewhere over there.
Yeah. I've never heard of the guy, but maybe he could come in and do good. I'm just I don't know what to think about Ole Miss. Just I don't know.
I'll give him one more year, but
well, he's got it. We'll see what happens. Apparently, he's got to make the tournament, or he's gone. So we'll see what happens after that. So the women's team, they got upset the other night.
It did.
They were favored to win. I watched some of that game.
First round, right? That was in the first round.
Yeah, those girls from South Dakota, they could play. They were playing as a team.
To do in South Dakota.
No, I guess not, but they were playing. They were tough bunch.
Well, that's it.
That Ole Miss
that they made it that far.
Ole Miss had a good run, and that coach seems to be, a good coach. I guess the worry is going to be, is she going to stick around? But
women's college basketball. Where else you going to go?
Yeah, who knows?
You got 6 or 7 big schools that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I feel like every basketball program, women's is kind of the same.
Yeah.
So.
What else you got?
Well, what else we got coming up? It's March 21st. We're exactly pretty much 2 months away from the clinic, the golf tournament, all that good.
Yeah. I'm getting excited about it. We've had a lot of queries about it. So I think we're going to have a good turnout for the golf tournament. I know we'll have a good turnout for the clinic. I talked to some people this weekend about playing, and I've made a few calls today. So
surprised you're not still any gear right now. You're not even wearing a big tee.
Well, I had to wash some of it.
Well, that's good.
So
I'm glad you're doing that. That's good.
And, tell everybody where they can find the gear.
BigTofficiating.com is a merchandise link. Merchandise.
I'm hoping some people are ordering some stuff. I had people ask about it.
You got to talk it up. A little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on the website. It's got a link there. There's a link for the golf. There's a link for the fish aid clinic. There's a link for.
They're not all links.
Well,
just a website with information on it.
Okay. What do you call it then? When you click on the thing, isn't that a link? Huh? What is it?
It's a website with stuff on it. It doesn't have, there's not links. Everything you click on ain't a link.
Okay, well, I'm old, boy. I thought we had links on there. You're trying to be funny on me, aren't you?
Funny.
And there's a link to the podcast.
Is that a link? That's a link.
Okay.
Because you click on that, then it takes you from your website to YouTube. That's a link. That's what a link is.
Go ahead and keep making fun of me.
I'm just trying to get straightened out.
Get me straightened out. Huh? You know what I was thinking about too? The commissioner mentioned the summer conference he's having. We might go there, do our podcast.
Oh.
Catch some of the SIDs and whatnot. It might not be a bad idea.
Very well could.
We could be press. Wear a hat with press on it.
Yeah.
I'm going to apply for a press pass to the Super Bowl next year. What do you think?
Is that supposed to be some sort of a joke or something? It wasn't very funny.
Maybe we'll get one. Wouldn't that be something?
Why don't you show them? Well,
they can put us on Radio Row.
Yeah, okay. Be out there interviewing the stars.
Tom Brady. Or Giselle.
Shoot for the stars. Shoot for the stars.
That's right. All right, well, son, I guess that's a good place for us to close out. Anything else you got?
Nope.
Okay. You coming home this weekend?
Hey. Masters, 18 more sleeps.
18 more.
Wow. We got any early picks for the Masters?
I'm liking Justin Thomas.
He's playing good. He's playing good every week. Played good
he's right on.
Play good
he's right on the edge.
Hasn't done anything in a major other than the one he won.
Yeah.
Remember that.
I think he's due.
Hadn't done it in the majors though.
Is Tiger playing?
Tiger's not playing no. We would have heard something by now.
I thought he was coming back for that.
That's the hardest place to walk in the country. On the PGA Tour. I don't see him playing. I don't see him playing this year. I just don't see it happening.
What about Sam Burns?
Patrick Cantley.
You like him? Maybe somebody come out of the woodwork. Bubba Watson.
Nah. Phil Mickelson.
Is Mickels? Is he playing?
I don't know.
He might win it.
That would be.
Boy, he put everybody down.
I just don't think he'll play.
Well,
why? All these comments, after all the Saudi stuff and everything going on.
I mean,
I don't think he's going to play in the Masters.
I don't know. I mean,
if he does, it'll be good for every other golfer because all the attention will be on him.
Yeah.
That'll be an interesting story if that comes to fruition.
We didn't talk about the Greg Norman League either. What do you think about that?
They just announced their schedule today.
Yeah.
Or this weekend, 8 events.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like millions and millions of winnings. how are they going to announce all these tournaments and nobody has announced that they're coming to play?
Somebody's going to play.
And they're in the U.S. 4 of them are in America.
Yeah. I mean, somebody's going to play. Just who it is. Well, I'll take the money.
And everybody gets paid, too. If you play in it, you get paid.
Even if you come in last.
I got a single pin ready to draw on the dotted line. Sign me up.
Yeah.
I'll go out there and shoot.
Well, you got your Callaway hats now.
I got sponsors.
That blue one's going to look good on me.
It's going to cost you.
Okay. All right. All right, son. Well, hope you have a great week. Appreciate the commissioner.
I didn't even know I was wearing an old logo with the commissioner today.
You didn't even notice it.
Nope. Whoops.
You didn't notice. Well, appreciate all you do. Appreciate the commissioner joining us up with us. So we'll cut it off for this week and look forward to seeing you next week. Everybody keep it straight, travel safe, and do good. Sign up for the golf.